Okay, welcome all. I'm happy to be here again. Welcome to this What Conference English Does Work Level 11. Today's aim for this meeting is to cover some information about argumentative tests and to review. I want to give you some examples from the students' works. So I brought two examples and I'm going to revise them here for you to understand how to build an argumentative test. I'm so sorry I couldn't have the meeting this morning because, okay, we have many things to do at work, and that's the reason why I couldn't do it this morning. But here I am, and I suppose with the flashes of the solar storms we're having lately, it is normal for everyone, this type of changes. I'm sorry, I'm trying to plug in my computer. And yeah, everything is changing and moving and accelerating around us. So here I am again. So let's begin. Remember that you find information about an argumentative test. I'm sorry if you hear noises because children are on vacation. This is their week. And my dog is happy here with a bone. So yeah, I'm sorry if you hear noises in the background. Okay. Um as I was saying, you will find detailed information, similar information about how to build an argumentative test on the platform in the second component of the course. So here I brought some information I found about an open university. What is at the end, you will find the references. What is an argumentative test? So remember, it is important to say this because most of you send papers with informative tests, which is different. It's a different approach. An expository test and an argumentative test. In an argumentative test, you are trying to persuade the reader, the public, of an idea you have, and you provide arguments for that. So it is not the same, because I found that in your tests, that you choose a controversial topic. That's one thing. But the other thing is, if I am able to write about that controversial topic using the step-by-step argumentative test. Do you understand the difference? So it is important to understand that I'm trying to persuade others about a point of view I have on a subject. And that's why I have to provide arguments. So here, this is like the general, let's say, meaning of an argumentative test. The general features of an argumentative test are it champions a specific position, of course, because you have a point of view. It offers data and arguments to defend that position because you are trying to persuade. That's why you have to bring data and arguments. It takes opposing arguments. This is very important. That's something most of your tests lack. You need to have into account opposite ideas, opposite points of view. It takes opposite arguments into account and discusses this because you are trying to convince others. So you have to look at the full range of opinions about that subject, but you are defending, you are taking position, and you're trying to persuade others that your point of view is the right one. That's why you're apporting data and arguments. It can deal with a wide variety of topics. How is an argumentative test structured? And here is very important. This is very important too because with this information, you find that you can build your tests only with, let's say, 1, 2, and let's say 2 arguments per paragraph. With a 4-paragraph test, you can bring a good argumentative test. You can submit a piece of art. So we have the introduction, the body of the argument, and the conclusion. In the introduction, you have to explain the subject, but you have also to put your position, your point of view. Maybe you can introduce, well, not maybe, but you don't have to. You can do it in a second paragraph. But in the first one, you can also do that, and you have to take into account the counterpart arguments. And you can do that in the introduction. Then in the second paragraph, in the third one, you can build the body of the arguments. So remember, you can use one argument or for each paragraph. So let's say that your main topic, you're giving a main idea, you're taking into account the other points of view, and you are explaining your point. And then in the second or third paragraph, you are going to discuss and support your main idea, your point of view. And then you have to conclude. There is also a conclusion. Some of your tests, some of them do not have conclusions. And it is important at least to have these 3 paragraphs. This is the last paragraph and should focus on the final argumentation underpinning the thesis. Synthetic design, the most important arguments as developed in the preceding paragraph. Here you should avoid including new ideas and instead highlight the fundamental points in favor of your argument. Here we have the structuring, how to structure an argumentative test. Introduction, test is the main idea. You should provoke a reaction in the reader. The body of the argument, comprising 3 or more paragraphs in which you align your reasoning and data to support your point of view. First paragraph, present the argument you will be refuting. Second and successive paragraph, this is where you refute the arguments presented in the first paragraph. It is essential to communicate the arguments and data you will use to support your opinion. This is also important. In one of your tests, I remember that I read something like, okay, in that test, one of the students, one of the apprentices were talking about, let's see if I remember. Let's say digital education. He was saying that he read something about a specific argument with a specific data, but he just mentioned it. Like, okay, I read something at a university's journal that says. So it is important to support and to put the reference, to cite the reference of that data in the body of the argument, okay? And then you have the conclusion and closing. You will need to make another major impact. Try to reach your reader emotionally and highlight the most important points developed in the main body of your text. Okay, so now let's see how to write an argumentative text in English. The introduction should be concise. This is not the time to develop in-depth arguments or contrast differences points of view. The main purpose here is to establish a state of play, a summary of the current situation, which help us to understand the text without entering into much detail, while also clarifying the subject matter and essence to be taken. Key features of this opening paragraph are precision, brevity, effectiveness. In the introduction, you should provoke a reaction from the reader, whether this be to predispose them towards your argument, generate interest, or anything else. There are many ways to generate interest in the reader, from opening your text with a question and its answers at the start or end, to beginning with a specific fact and outline the reasons why it is important. There is a wide range of tools that can be useful to achieve the desired effect. It is also highly recommendable to use short, concise sentences when you still haven't mastered the language. So try to be brief, precise, and effective when you write the main idea of your argumentative test. In the first paragraph of the body, the key is to present the arguments in order of priority. So you have the introduction, then you have the first paragraph. In that paragraph, you can introduce the main arguments of your point of view. And then you develop those arguments in the second and third paragraph. And at the end, you have to conclude. The second and subsequent paragraph. This is where arguments presented in the first paragraph are refuted. Include arguments in favor. And then you have to close your test. So here you need to conclude. Here you will need to make another major impact like the one in the introduction, although this time you can write a little more, try to reach your reader emotionally and highlight the most important points developed in the main body of your test. This is not the place to include new ideas. Remember this. Instead, focus on summarizing and creating the desired effect on the reader so that your argument is better established and the main points stand out above others. Let's see some examples. In this first example from one of you, here the apprentice, she's trying, she shows the election of the general attorney of the nation. And that's a controversial subject. But if you see the way she's giving the information is just informative. So let's see. She says, the Secretary of the Senate, Juan Gregorio Elijash, was elected today as Attorney General of the nation. Since the entire Senate is his friend for many years, the work that Gregorio has done has also been very valuable in that room where the laws of Colombia are made, and proceeds to execute them. Today, with 95 votes, the new Attorney of Colombia was elected. In addition, he has been a good secretary and good friend to all liberals, conservatives. In fact, he's one of the most named personalities at this time today. So if you see, she's talking about Juan Gregorio, and she is giving a fact. He was elected as the general attorney of the nation, and that's all. And that's expository. She is not giving any point of view. Then she follows saying that this personality studied law at the University of Cauca, originally from the municipality of Fusagasugá, Department of Cundinamarca. He was born on March 12, 1959, and he also has, in fact, a specialization in management of territorial entities. So now she's providing some personal information about this personality, about Juan Gregorio. Here we have some educational background. Then the time in which he'll be Attorney General of the nation in Colombia will be 2025 and 2029. This is more information. Mr. Juan Gregorio, he is an individual with a lot of ability to work. Now she's talking about, let's say, his abilities. He knows their behavior. and that is valuable to have managed to be Attorney General of the nation. He has also worked hand in hand with all of them. As a citizen living in Colombia, I hope that we can have the best Attorney General. It is also important to have people who have so many friends. So, if you see, this one could be a good subject for an argumentative test, but it's lacking most of the steps to have that argumentative test. Let's say that this is controversial, but like she needs to take a clear stance on that controversy. She's giving evidence and reasoning why he's he's going to be a good attorney. But she's not giving the counter arguments. And the previous, let's say, debates which were open in Colombia before he was elected. So if you see, this test is lacking lots of information, lots of steps, most of the steps to have an argumentative test. So here we have an expository test. Let's say that let's build from this information an argumentative test. How will you do it? You need to choose a main topic. So let's say that main topic, main idea would be something like, okay, the recent election of Juan Gregorio Lijas as the General Attorney of the nation has sparked intense debate. And if you see, when I say that, okay, this process to have this guy elected has sparked intense debate. Now I have a controversial subject that I'm planning to review and debate with you. That's different. So let's say that has sparked intense debate, and I want to notice that some people were with the election of Juan Gregorio Lijas, but there were some other people condemning as a threat, this guy as a threat. So that would be an argumentative test introduction. And then I will need to introduce also, apart from this, which is my point of view, if I am the student, I am, let's say, with Juan Gregorio, I need to also add, like, why, let's say, some reasonings about why this personality, Juan Gregorio, raises concerns as the General Attorney of Colombia. So that would be, let's say, talking about those concerns would be a full paragraph. Because here, I'm sorry, some children are around listening to me. I'm sorry. I talk in Spanish. So here, this is my point of view. Okay. He was the best option. He was elected. He is going to be one of the best ones because he has so many friends. He's one of the main personalities we have now in this country, and all his background, all his educational background and everything. So this is truly my point of view, okay? But I need to put it into an argumentative test. That's why I need to put the counterpart arguments and let's say add some information about the concerns this election raised in Colombia, the previous days, the previous week or months. Okay? So let's see a second example. Here we have also, I don't remember who wrote this. And this one is about climate change. So let's say this is the main idea. The importance of the environmental education in the fight against climate change. This is also a good subject to talk about, to develop an argumentative test. It's controversial, but it is also the same. If you are going to look at, when you read this, you're going to find that this is also an expository test, not an argumentative test. Climate change is currently one of the greatest challenges facing humanity. The consequences of this phenomenon are evident, from rising global temperatures to extreme weather events. In this context, environmental education emerges as a key tool to foster awareness and the necessary action to mitigate these effects. So here, she's giving let's say, yeah, I think it is a girl. Yes, it was a girl. Okay, so this first paragraph is a good one, but it's also lacking the argumentative structure. She's just saying that climate change is a challenge, it's a big challenge. And she's saying there are a lot of consequences, and all that is evident. And she also says that environmental education emerges as a key tool to foster awareness. But this is expository. This is an expository test. Firstly, environmental education allows people to understand the magnitude of the climate change problem by providing information on how human activity. So now she's giving, let's say she's developing one of the arguments why it is important to educate people about the climate change, all the challenges we're facing as humanity, by providing information on how human activities affect the environment According to the UNESCO study, this is fundamental as awareness is the first step towards change. So she's providing very good supporting ideas on why it is important to educate people about environmental changes. However, environmental education should not be limited to the classroom. It is crucial for governments, organizations, and communities to work together to integrate environmental education into us as all aspects of daily life. So here we can find, let's say that the problem of this test is we need to change the introduction and to reveal the main idea. Because here we have some aspects, and she's saying like education should not be limited to the classroom. And this is a counter argument. Awareness campaigns, workshops, and community events can be effective in reaching a wider audience. In this way, environmental education becomes a collective effort involving all sectors of society. For instance, this one will be a good, from this paragraph, I can reveal a main idea for this test. In conclusion, environmental education is fundamental in the fight against climate change. By providing knowledge, fostering positive attitudes, and promoting individuals' responsibilities, we can empower people to take meaningful action at a time when collective action is more urgent than ever. Investing in environmental education is an essential strategy for building a more sustainable and resilient future. So this is a good example. We find that here and here we find argumentative paragraph, but it's lacking a good introduction and a good main idea. So we can rephrase that. Let's say that this test is compelling perspectives on education's role in driving environmental change. And that's the reason why this is perfect. But yeah, it is necessary to reveal that first paragraph, that introduction. So let's say that the main argument for the test will be something like, okay, education is essential in combating climate change and the consequences of the human activities. And now I'm rebuilding that, if you see, in an argumentative way. But by empowering individuals with environmental knowledge and critical thinking skills can be done not only for schools, but also for society. That will be a good main idea. And it fits perfectly for this test. Because here at the beginning we have school, But then we have, okay, wait a minute. This is crucial, but it's also crucial for governments, organizations, and communities and society in general to integrate into the environmental education, into all aspects of daily life. Do you understand? Do you see this difference? Okay, this is all I provided for you. We have 1 minute left, so thank you for those who are going to watch this, and I hope this is helpful for you and for your argumentative test. Have a good one. Have a great day. Goodbye. Thank you.